Good morning once again, good people, fellow humans, HUEMONDS, colorful nuts. And I think that's a good way to think of ourselves. We're just colorful nuts. We're not like dirty rags. We're not sinful nature. We're not by nature evil, bad. We are just stumbling around in the dark looking for a way on an adventure, our adventure of a lifetime. And we unhumbly are here to help on that journey, on that adventure. Thinking of it like it's a boat. And to have a successful boating adventure, you need to make sure, good morning, what not a bevy. Glad to see you're here. No school today, question mark. So you're on a boat adventure. So your boat qualities of your boat, the characteristics of your boat are you have sails, you have a rudder, you have a below deck, and you have a hull. And that's what we use as the example we build from. The sails are like the physical part, the gift we have of having a body that can do things. And you want to keep the sails, you want to take care of the sails, because if the sails go, whoosh, going to the library and then virtual class at 6. Okay, so you have your sails. You need to take care of your sails because the sails enable you to get to places, not go where the current takes you. You can go against the current. You can go from point A to point B if the sails are taken care of. Next, you have the steering mechanism. That's like the mental gift that we have, this brain we have that's the most complex thing in the universe other than the universe. So we have this brain. We want to take care of the brain, use the brain properly, just like learning how to steer. And if you're out in the steering mechanism, the rudder breaks, you now are left with the sails. You have to navigate only with the sails. Not so good. Versus if you're an expert at the sails, at tacking, as them sails, them boating people call it tacking. If you're good at tacking, tack, tack, tack. No, that's tapping. If you're good at tacking and you know how to use the rudder because you can figure out how to use the wind, the current, etc., to get you to where you want to be, you can have a really good adventure. And then there's the below deck, the below deck. That's where you go for safety, out of the heat or out of the cold, a place to sleep, a place to cook, a place where you keep all of your supplies, a place where you keep your treasure that you collect along the way. So you want to have a good below deck. It would be pretty tough being on a large raft, exposed to the elements. You got to strap your stuff down on the deck, your supplies and your treasure, not good. And then finally, there's the hull itself. That's like the spiritual side of life. And if everything fails, the sails fail, the rudder fails, the below deck gets swamped and flooded, as long as the hull is intact, as long as your spiritual part is solid, you can pray for somebody to come along, literally and figuratively, someone to come along and rescue you. So we help people on the journey by focusing on those 4 things: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, or the sails, the rudder, the below deck, and the hull, however you want to look at it. That's our goal, to help people segment these, focus on them, and appreciate them. So this is day 4 of week 3 in our neuroscience approach to success. I only flip through it every day so people get that it's pretty heavy duty. Seems like it's pretty heavy duty. Almost, yeah, it's over 400 pages. This is a 4-week, 4-hour per day course for people who are incarcerated. You spend 4 hours a day 7 days a week for 28 days. You go through this book, boom, and then you repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. So what not a bevy do you leave tomorrow? For Nevada, as they say. Okay, and Manicus Von Atticus is here. Edward is on his way to buy another motorcycle. Great. Send a pic. Yep, work in the morning and fly at night. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so this is day 4, week 3, outside my skull-sized kingdom, where our goal is to get a crew, get people to help us on our journey through this wonderful adventure, this life, set the trajectory. So when we shed this mortal coil, we'll keep going in the direction we started, or we'll be further along, or who knows what. Who knows what. And as the Stoics would say, and if there is nothing, if we are just atoms in the void, we will live on in the memories of the people who knew us and the deeds we did. We will not be lost in history, as the Romans feared. It was a motivator for the Romans to not be lost in history, to continue on after we have shuffled this mortal coil. Okay, cool, groovy, groovy. Okay, theme for today, the case for magical science. The case for magical science. As Lucy would do. The case for magical science. What does that mean? What is magical science? Who knows? If you're there, Maticus Fanaticus, what would you say? What is magical science? What is magical science? Trying to think of his name. Philosophy professor Daniel Dennett. Daniel Dennett talked about a book that had to do with magical science or real magic. And he said, real magic, you can't do real magic. The magic you do, but the magic they do is not real magic. They only make you think that it's real magic, but it's not real magic. So, but we're going to talk about the case for magical science. So what is that? Is that a Clarke's first law, second law? Is that a Clarke's thing? Any sufficiently advanced, second law. Any sufficiently advanced technology will appear as magic? Or is it like David Phillips, today's TED Talk, the magical science of storytelling? Where he's talking about really the power of stories. Yuval Harari, the power of stories. My shirt changed color. Interesting. It's now brighter green. Should we look around us? Should we have a lens to look at the world as a lens to look at through, a lens to view the world through, called magical science? Oh, my shirt is fading. Back. There, dark. And it's going to go light. Okay. The magical science of storytelling. Should we look for magical science around us? And by magic, again, it's the Daniel Dennett thing, where it's not real magic, meaning the magic that you can't do, meaning altering the laws of physics, not that kind of magical science, not that kind of magic. But the things that we think of as magic, because we don't have a really good explanation. Okay, but before we do that, dive more into that, let's look at our worksheet. What's the advice from an 80-year-old? When someone hugs you, let them be the first to let go. What's the magical science behind that? What's the magical science behind hugging? What is the magical science behind hugging? Okay, so Matt, I'm focused on my podcast right now. What is the magical science of hugging? What happens when we hug or get hugged? Boom, we feel better, right? We feel loved. We feel something. We feel something if we are hugged. What's the science behind it? The release of neurotransmitters and hormones, oxytocin, and whatever angel's cocktail there is. So maybe when we see things or we experience things that make us feel a certain way, wonder, confusion, frustration, other things, things in between, maybe we should say, wow, that experience made me feel a certain way. What's the science behind that? What actually caused that? Oh, I know, it's phenomenology, right? That's what phenomenology would be. It's sort of, so a simple way to express it would be to step outside of yourself and say, why am I feeling the way I feel? So like if you go to a movie, let's say it's Rocky number 1, not Rocky 15. You go see the movie Rocky, it's at the end of the movie, and there's the scene where Rocky calls out for Adrian, right? And now the chemicals are flowing in your brain because our brain thinks it's us. We're experiencing what's going on. So phenomenology would be to step outside of yourself and say, why do I feel that way? It's not real. Those aren't guys really fighting. In fact, they're not fighting at all. They're not real. A, they're not real. They're not real people. It's just pigments on the screen. B, they're not fighting, they're acting. Why am I so pulled into it that it's at the movies of, yo, yeah, Rocky, yo, Rocco, Rocky, yeah, whoop, etc. Why do we do that? Or when I was in teaching in the women's prison, they would always say the notebook, you know, and so it'd be to step outside yourself. Why am I crying? It's not even real. In fact, it's not life. It's a representation of life in 2 dimensions on a screen. And the people don't actually feel what they're feeling. They're acting because somebody else wrote it. It's not even their emotions that they're pretending to have. What is that? So we look at the magical science of that. And if we, from David Phillips' thing, if we look at the magical science of a thing, in his case, storytelling, if we look at the magical science of storytelling, we can break it down and decide we're going to do it. So when it comes to storytelling, David Phillips goes through the whole thing. He talks about the neurotransmitters, how they make you feel. He says, okay, here's what you want to do. If you want to be a good storyteller, number 1, you have to believe you're a good storyteller. Nobody's born a good storyteller. Good storytellers are made. And Some of them just adopt the stuff naturally. They don't know why it works, but they're doing the same thing. Creating pictures in people's brains that release neurotransmitters that make them feel a certain way when they hear certain words. Vibrations through the air cause people to have feelings. Okay, so he says, okay, so here's the different feelings. And you think of your stories and try to match a story with an emotion. Some stories make us laugh, some make us cry, some give suspense. What's going to happen next? They pull us in. So catalog, match your stories, write your stories down so they're good, clean, crisp stories. Oxytocin, right. They match the stories to the neurotransmitters. Then when you go into when you're going to be around a group of people and you're going to tell a story, choose the story that matches the emotion you want them to feel. If you want people to like you, it's always safe to go with a joke, right? Because what are we trying to do? We're trying to bond. We're trying to get people to see the world the way we see it. Aha, so maybe that is the thing. What happens if people can never see the world the way you see it? They just can't do it. They're trying to do it. It's not like, oh, no, I disagree with you. It's like, I want to see it, but I can't see it. How come you can see what I can't see? And then maybe flip it into a negative thing of, well, screw you. It's not fair or whatever. Anyway, our goal is to bond with people, to get people to see the world the way we see it and to see the world the way they see it. Because if we're bonded and you say, let's go do this, if we're bonded, I'm going to say, yeah, right. Or before you say, let's do this, I'm going to say, let's do this. Why? Because we see the world the same way. Why? Because we are bonded. So the objective is to bond as much as possible with the people who you want to work with, your tribe. Bond with them. And David Phillips is saying, okay, bonding has to do with feelings, with emotions. If we're thinking about the same thing and we're feeling the same way about the same thing, we are bonded. And Ramachandran from UC San Diego says the same thing. He calls them Gandhi neurons. He says the only thing that separates us is the feedback loop that tells me I am not you. Gandhi neurons is we are we. There's forget about the you, forget about the me. It's we. Mother Teresa, we belong to one another. That's why we have a duty and we feel good when we help other people because we belong to one another. We just have to remember that. So, bonding, David Phillips, The Magical Science of Storytelling, is how to take the magic of feelings, break it down so you can proactively bond with other people through, and he says, through telling stories. Telling stories that get people to feel the way you feel, the way you want them to feel. So it'd be important to not manipulate people. So if I get you to feel this way, but I don't feel that way, that's insincere. That's manipulation. That's no. Stranger danger. No. You don't want to do that. That's like saying, yeah, here's a hammer. I can break things. Why learn to make things? I'm going to have fun just breaking things. No, we're not using hammers to break things. We're using hammers to learn how to make things, not break things, to build things. So we use this idea of bonding, the magical science of storytelling, to bond with other people so they see the world the way we do. So, per Yuval Harari, We can do things. We can work flexibly in large numbers and accomplish things that nothing else on this planet has the ability to accomplish. And in that, to save our souls. Okay, so we are over our time. I'm going to say and cut. Thank you for being there. Hope to see you tomorrow.